I awoke from my nap, drool sliding down my cheek as I left a nightmare. I had just gotten back from school not too long ago, maybe like 3 hours, and I had fallen into a deep sleep since it was Friday and that day was hectic. Just typical middle school things. I slowly got out of bed, moving like a sloth. My body was sore, but I was fine. I dialed up all of my friends' numbers one by one, calling them. First Jordan, then Rob, and then Brandon. All of them agreed to meet up at my new house, which was being built at the time, which I lived in a rental house. While I lived in a rental house. Fast forward to when I was sitting at my new house with little to no warm clothes. My mother had just dropped me off, and the cold air swayed back and forth like the ocean waves, moving in all sorts of directions. The dry and cold winter air burned my nostrils as I inhaled deeply. 15 to 20 minutes passed as I shivered in the cold weather with just a small flannel coat and jeans. My Oakland Raiders football cap blew off my head, as almost all of my friends simultaneously arrived at my house. I scurried to my cap and readjusted it to fit tightly. "Hey, what's up, boys?" I called loudly from 30 feet away. "Mikey, how you doing?" Brandon called. Brian, Jordan, and I sat and waited until Rob arrived in his old piece of junk minivan that his family had since gotten rid of, thankfully. All of us boys marched through the backyard of my new house and into the woods. The loud crunch sounds of leaves came from below, sounding almost like when chewing on cereal if I had to describe it. Cold breezes swept the forest floor and stung our nostrils with the dry, frigid air. Large clouds of smoke came from our mouths as we talked nonsense the entire way until we found a small, clear-looking patch of dirt beside a large, whitish tree. Ants marched all along the tree carrying little specks of what must have been food. "This is a great spot to just build a fort. What do you all think?" I asked. Without hesitation, my boys agreed, and we began scattering out into the dead silent forest, hearing only the sounds of leaves being crushed by our heavy winter boots. Almost 30 minutes went by, and we had a nice-looking fort going. We hammered nice, thick, hard stakes into the forest floor, deep enough to keep our base sturdy. Chicken wire was wrapped around the top, and leaves provided a nice and simple roof. We gathered handfuls of leaves as they blew around with the wind. Night had creeped upon us, and quicker than we all expected. The temperature dropped significantly, as did the wind, thankfully, but still that couldn't stop us from being frozen. Quickly, we decided we needed to gather small sticks and flammable materials and try our best to make a mini campfire. Marching back to the new house, I managed to find a lighter close by. My mind was racing at the thought that a flame would soon be up and warming us to the core like a soft, warm blanket. 40 or so minutes passed with a small but worth it flame. Our hands warmed quickly and our moods became very relaxed until suddenly, in the dark night, a little light appeared from afar. Slowly, the light surged among us, and we were consumed by light, easily spotted by anyone looking out their windows. A voice called out to us, coming from the direction of the light. "What's going on here?" A police officer emerged from the light. I was startled and thought to just run, but my body wouldn't allow me. The tall blonde officer was then joined by 3 more of his own, along with almost 6 firefighters, rigged with big water sprayers. Within seconds, our flame was out, and the police officers, along with the firefighters and us 4, were marching back through the woods onto the street. The police put Jordan and I into one car, and the other 2 into a police dog SUV. I had my feet secured down by 2 metal bars, unable to get away. Jordan rode shotgun with the officer. The ride was long and quiet, that's for sure. The only sound that could be heard was the radio blabbering as the gas pedal moving up and down with the movement of the officer's foot. The vehicle approached the end of my street. That's when I had realized what I had done. Within seconds, a blinding array of blue and red lights surrounded my vision, like a UFO landing over its victims. 6 or 7 fire engines were lined ready to blast down a forest fire, along with a few EMT cars and a few more police squad cars. At that point, I sat back into the hard plastic seat and thought to myself in silence. As the car continued to what we were assuming was the police station, my father appeared in my head several times, since I had just embarrassed him. Everyone on the street knew us, and now they saw me riding in the backseat of a police car, and then emergency vehicles ready to stop our beautiful town from turning into charcoal and ashes. Suddenly, the cars pulled into the police station, and the officers acknowledged us to get out, and told us to follow them. We followed the officers into the building and walked through the hallways of the police station, first walking past an assortment of weapons like rifles on the walls. The station was bright and alive, but the mood was opposite from the officers. The officers had us sit into an office room, and none of us talked to one another out of pure fear and disappointment in ourselves. Our parents were called, and I was just waiting for the moment when my dad went off on me. Once the officers let me know that my mother was here, I followed her out of the station and into her car outside. We had a long talk about how dangerous what I had done was, because with the combination of slight wind and a dry air, a forest fire was easily possible to occur. Her and I pulled into my driveway, and I approached the door. The old door screeched as I walked in, and instantly I ran up to my room as my brother's hazed at me in silence. Lying in my bed, I covered my face with my soft pillow and just prepared for a close-to-death experience with my dad. I sat there in the same position until my mom called me down, and I followed her into the living room. I took a seat and sunk into the leather couch, where my dad staring dead at me, creating a wave of fear and a dark aura. Instantly, out of nowhere, my dad was yelling at, "And for the sake of your eyes, I won't write the curses," but you can imagine he was livid, and I took into the yelling and fully understood that I had disappointed and let him down. Once he was done spitting on my face and screaming, he looked at me and told me to go back to my room. As I walked back upstairs, I swore to myself I would never do something so stupid, nor risk anyone's lives like that ever again. I sat in my bed and just closed my eyes and drifted into a deep sleep.